Okay, so now we will solve the next Leetcode SQL problem. Question number 3451. Find invalid IP address, and this is the hard category problem. But trust me, this is very easy, right? Uh, just a couple of days ago, I have uploaded this video, like first letter capitalization too. So if you have already watched this video, I will be 100% sure you can easily solve this problem as well. So if you want to give it a try, click on the SQL schema and just copy paste that, and so that it will uh, like create a table and insert the sample records for you. Right, so I also did the same. So let's read the question. So you have one table, logs table. We have three column, log ID, IP, status code. Okay. You need to write a solution to find the invalid IP address. So in our table, we have the log ID, you have the IP and the status code. And this IP can be repeated multiple times. Same IP can be repeated multiple times because we have the logs table. So you need to find a invalid address. These are the IPv4 address. And how to find the invalid address? So they have this some condition. What are those conditions? uh, Contains a number greater than 255 in any octet. So we know IPv4 is a combination of four octet. Four octet means like four basically number separated by decimals, and each number should be less than 255, right? So if any of the octet, like this octet or this any of the octet is greater than 255, then the whole IP address is invalid. So that is one condition. The another condition is that it should not have the leading zeros. So the IP address 192.168.1.1 is correct, but 001 is incorrect. So it should not have the leading zeros. And it should not have less than or more than or octets. Let's suppose here 192.688.1. So this is just three octets. It's not a complete IPv4 address, right? But if we have the five given, like 198.68.1.1.1, that is a five octet. That is also wrong. So these are the three conditions which we need to check, and we need to figure it out. Okay, and we need to return the count. How many are this? So like 192, and for the invalid count. So 192.6 is valid one. So 256, this 256 is the invalid because this 256 is greater than 255. So this is invalid, and that is repeated just two times. So here as well, here as well. So the count is two. 192.168.001 also repeated two times. So that is also count two. And 192.168.1, that is repeated one time. So the count is one. All right. So we have to return the count, and the count will be something by group by. So can we do one thing, like first let's do the group by. Okay, how many times this IP is repeated, how many times that particular IP repeated, so that we will just check that particular IP rather than unnecessary checking. Because when we already check 192.68.1.1, then why should I again check 192.168.1.1? If I reduce the number of rows, then it will be like useful for us, right? So first thing is that let's group by uh, based on the IP address. So there are multiple ways to solve this problem. We are going to split in very sequential way, right? So that anyone can able to understand that problem, right? So first we will do group by, because we need to find the count, and we need to find the invalid count. Invalid is okay. That is, we will put some where clause or some checks, that is fine. But we will first do the group by. Okay, how many, whether it's invalid or whether it's invalid, how many IPs are there, right? So select what we need, IP, and we need count star as total IP count, something like that, right? From logs table, group by IP. So let's execute that. So now we get that. So 256.1.2.3 is greater, repeated two times. So whatever is invalid. So let's suppose this is invalid. We will just give this row. If this is invalid, this will give this row. If this is invalid, we will give this row. So this is valid. We are not going to return this row, right? So now instead of like checking 7 rows or 8 rows, we will just check the 4 rows. So that's why like in a first place, like we did the group by. Okay, so we already did the group by. So now we will operate on this table. So can we store this in a city, right? So that uh, for the understanding purpose, it will be very easy for us. So let's create a city. CTS, or you can give some like I am giving city. You can give some valid name, maybe like IP addresses, something like that. All right. So if you do select star from city, and we are getting the same thing, right? Okay. Now you need to check row by row. You need to check row by row, and what you need to check whether like because there are 4 octet, right? There are 4 octet. So multiple condition you need to check whether each octet has greater than 255. So in our last video where we like first letter capitalization, there also like we need to run some kind of a loop because we need to check each octet. Like we will check 256, we will check 1, we will check 2, we will check 3. You can't run a for loop in this way, right? So basically this is a string because here if you could see this is a like a IP is a varchar, this is a string or a text. So let's like in your coding how you are going to verify. So maybe you are going to split this text with that separator, with dot separator, and then you will get a number of like octet, and then individual octet you can easily verify, right? So we are follow the same approach because first you need to like do the calculation in mind how you are going to or like solve this problem step by step. Okay, I have the first step in my mind because I can't check everything in a single go because I need to check each element one at a time. So let's split that. So we have a string. So how you are going to split a string into an array or a list? So we have a function string to array. So let's do that. String to array function, and string to array function should be on the IP column. And we are going to like create an like array, and based upon like how we are splitting based upon dot. So let me run that. So you could see we now we have like a array where we have all the elements. So one array has 4 element, one array has 3 element, one has 4 element, one array has 4 element, right? And let's calculate as like IP array or octet array. These are the octet, right? Octets array, octet array. Okay. So now, and like we have one condition where you need to figure it out whether you have the less or more than 4 octets. Now we have the array. Can we create one more column where we can tell the length of the array? All right. So the length of the array. And how to calculate the length of the array? So there is a one function array length. So either you can use this, that is also going to give you the length of the array, but you need to specify the dimension of the array because it is 1D array, 2D array, 3D array, or you have cardinality. There you don't need to specify the dimension. You can give any type of dimension here, and it is calculated the how many number of elements, right? And we want to calculate the number of elements, right? So we have this table. Let's first store this table into another city, city E1 as so that we are going in step by step, right? So if I just do select star from city E1, you could see the same output. Okay. Now I need all the columns, but I need one more extra column where I'm going to tell the okay how many like a number of octets are there, right? Because if the number of octets are not 4, then that is invalid, right? Because that is one condition. So to check that, I should have the count because I have the array. Let's get the count. So cardinality of octet array as octet length, right? So I get the count, right? So which means wherever it's 3, that is definitely invalid. The remaining can be invalid, cannot be invalid, but wherever we have not equal to 4, that is definitely invalid, right? So even whether you check uh, the other two condition or not, that's up to you, but this is definitely one of the answer, right? So 192.68.1 and 1, this is definitely the answer, right? But the other can be the answer or cannot be the answer because we have other two conditions as well, right? Okay. uh, so you have this one, so let's store that in another city to s. You don't need to do in multiple city, but I am intentionally doing so that we can easily understand this. Okay. We have now this table, so now whatever the operation we are going to perform on this table, now you have this array, now you have to check each and individual element of the array. In the last video we have the same kind of a problem where we have to check each and individual world. So when we have to check each, and we know, because here we know you can't run loop. So similarly here you can't run a loop, because in a like SQL we can run a loop or iterate row by row. You can't iterate like in a single cell within a single cell, no. So but I need to iterate within a single cell, so let's, because this is a nested, so let's unnested it so that 256 in one row, one is in another row, two is in another row, three is in another row. So let's do that. Or maybe I can do within the like okay, let's do in this another one. I can do within this select statement as well, but let's do the another one. So I need everything, all right? Along with that, I will unnested it. What I need to unnest? Octet array as octet, because the individual element is as octet from city to. Let's run that. Uh, let's remove the comma from here. Okay, so now you could see 256 here, 1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here, 192 is here, 168 is here, everything is here. Now, can I verify each element, each octet? Can I verify? So answer is yes, I can easily verify whether 256 is valid or not, 1 is valid or not, 2 is valid or not, 3 is valid or not. As soon as I verify, I can assign some number or some text, something like that, whether that is valid, some whether that is not valid, right? So let's do that. So let's assign another city to this table, city 3s. Okay, now what next? I need to verify each and every element, whether 256 is valid or not, 1 is valid or not, 2 is valid or not, 3 is valid, because we have three conditions. More than 4 octets, which we can easily verify from this column octet length. But the other two conditions, greater than 255, greater than 255, we have not verified. Leading zeros we have not verified. So now these two conditions can be run on this one, and if these two conditions get verified, we will assign true, false, something like that. It's up to us whether whatever you want to assign. But let's try that. So select. We need all the columns. So I am still printing all the columns star. I am going to print another column, but another column based upon which condition? Based upon this condition, right? Whether this is valid or not. So condition means case statement. All right. So case statement. Okay. When what is the case statement? When octet. If octet is greater than 255, so let's do that. If octet is greater than 255, okay, that is one condition. Other condition is or, because octet can be greater than 255 and octet can have the leading zeros, or octet. How to check the leading zero? This is a text. I can do like zero star. If it is starting with the zero, which means it has the leading zeros, right? All right. If when octet is greater than 255 or octet like this one. So now I like both the conditions are met. All right. If that will be the case, then I am going to say assign like zero, like false, something like that, and one. Sorry, else one, not and one, and I'm going to close that from city 3. So let's run that. Uh, Okay, so octet is a text. Octet is a text, but 255 is integer. So let's cast that. Cast octet as int, and let's run that. So you could see whether 256 is valid. No. 1 is valid. Yes. 2 is valid. Yes. 3 is valid. Yes. 192 is valid. Yes. 168 is valid. I am checking each octet. Right, so 001 is valid. No, so I am checking each octet, right? So I can say here as is octet valid, basically whether the particular individual octet is valid or not. Okay, so now I have this table, so let's store this table in another CTE 4s. So now it's very easy for us because now we have everything with us. But uh, can we do group by? Because this is one thing. And how to can group by on these two columns, right? Group by, you can easily do the group by on these two columns because this is the same IP, the another will be the same IP. And what I want to do is, because I, in our octet, because if each octet is valid, I am assigning either 1 or 0. So we know in IPv4 we have 4 octet. So if the sum is 4, if the sum is 4, right, then like, because if the first octet is valid, second octet is valid, third octet is valid, fourth octet is valid, if the sum is 4, right, then which means my whole IP is valid. But if sum is not 4, because if one of the octet is invalid, like in this case, if I do the sum 1 2 3, which means one of the octet, I really don't care which octet is not valid, but one of the octet is invalid, uh, which is not meeting any of the condition, then I can assign 3, right, sum. So let's do that. So basically we will do group by uh, these two columns, because in the output I need the IP, in the output I need the IP count as well, and just do the group by. So let's do that. So select IP, total IP count from CTE4, group by, uh, and one more thing, I need sum of is octet valid. uh, Basically I, because I need another column whether from CT4 group by IP and total IP count. So let's try that. So we are getting our, now you can easily see because the sum is 3, which means these 3 octets are invalid, right? Even though I think like this cardinality is not required, because whenever we are doing in such a way uh, where we are checking the sum of, because if it is, if it is a three octet, right, even though all the threes are valid, then we are getting the sum as 3, 1 2 3, right? So maybe I can remove this CTE2, or maybe we will remove it. Let's leave it as of now because we really don't need it. We can maybe but anyhow we learn one more function like cardinality. Let's keep it here as is. Okay, so now what you need, so let's store this in or maybe we don't need to store it. And now total IP count as invalid count. Okay, you can do like a couple of things here. Either uh, either or let's do one thing. Let's assign another CTE5s. I can put having clause here as well to filter that, but I'm not intentional to do that, right? So now I have this table. Can you easily figure it out? Like which one is invalid? So answer is yes. So what I need select IP. I need total IP count as invalid count, right? As invalid count from CTE5, where and I can assign this something, right? Octet sum as where octet sum not equal to 4, because if the sum is not equal to 4, that is invalid. Octet sum is not equal to 4. So let's run that. So I get the three like rows, and the 3 is required. But one more thing, they said you need to order by invalid count and IP. So let's do that. Order by invalid count. Order by invalid count, and it should be in descending order. Descending. And the another is IP, that is also descending. So let's run that. So now I have like, so let's copy paste and uh, test on Leetcode. So let's submit it. So you could see our all the 12 test cases has been passed, even though this is very hard category problem. But you could see we are able to solve in a very easy way. But the only thing is we just divide our problem like in such a way. And one more thing we can do, because I feel because the cardinality here is not required, because we are doing the sum of the octet. So, and we are not using anywhere the octet length function. So here I am just calculating the cardinality in CTE2. So I don't need CTE2. So I can remove this CTE2, and I can create this as a CTE2, and this should be CTE1, and this is CTE3, this is CTE2, this is CTE4, and this is CTE3, and this is CTE4. Hope I have not done any mistake. Let me copy paste this and let me re-execute. Okay, it's a little bit more faster because we have removed one more like unnecessary function which we are anyhow not using. But still, we have learned one extra function. There is one more thing. I intentionally like solve in this way, but in the PostgreSQL, you have a one more function, network address type, where you have the INET. INET is basically just to check the IP address v4 or v6. So you can directly use this function as well. Then the query will be just a one-line query, right? So INET, you can use the INET function on the on this like field, IP field, and if it is valid it is going to return true, otherwise it is going to return maybe null or something like that. I have not tried that, but we have this function, you can use that. But I, to be honest, because we are learning an SQL, we are solving the SQL problem, I'm avoiding this inbuilt function INET. Better we should know how to approach the problem, because here it is IP, it could be any number, and maybe the condition should be the same. I am not saying IP, maybe instead of 255, it say, okay, then octet should not be greater than 500. Then the INET is not going to be work in that case, right? Because INET is for the valid IP address and 500 is not a valid IP address. So we should know how to solve that problem. So that's it. That's the end of the video. You can also give it a try, and thank you.